Welcome to Jan's Views, a place where I share my views and listen to yours. Whether you are here for my artwork, live streams, shorts, or just for the giggles, please be assured I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that you will enjoy your time here on my channel. I would be eternally grateful if you would give a like to the video, consider subscribing and, dare I ask, even become a member. So without further ado, let's do this.
Hi, and welcome to another Jan's Views on Crime. I'm going to do an update video on the Jay Slater case because, believe it or not, it is still being spoken about. There are still theories going on about what actually happened to the missing 19-year-old who was later found deceased in Tenerife. So I thought it's time I did an update. Let's have a look and see what YouTube shows us about Jay Slater. So all you have to do is type in Jay Slater on YouTube and you see there are thousands and thousands of videos about him. Also, very, very recent ones. And they're the ones that I'm going to be looking at today. So we've got, as I mentioned before, you've got all the news channels that take up a vast majority of the videos on YouTube, but you don't want to pay much attention to those. I don't pay much attention to those because they are feeding you what they want you to be fed. It's not necessarily the truth. So I tend to go for other outlets, people with their nose to the ground, not these like The Sun or GB News or the Daily Mail. No, I don't bother with all of those. I like this guy. Now, I'm not going to play this particular one. This is someone called Wax Unfiltered, and I would advise you to not only go and watch his videos, but to definitely subscribe to his channel because the information he gives out is not only very truthful, you can believe in his sources. So that's one person I would definitely suggest. If you want to find more about Jay Slater, go and check out Wax Unfiltered. I think I covered the True Geordie one on the last video, so we won't look at that. And another very good channel is called Joseph Morris. Now, these two do reference each other, Wax Unfiltered and Joseph Morris. And I think that's a good thing because I think the more people that speak out on what is being fed to us by the news agencies, the better it is and the more likely we are being fed the truth. So these are the two people that I generally follow. Now, I've not checked out Joseph's video from yesterday, so maybe we'll have a look at that. There's another person called Harsh Reality. He's quite good. And his latest video an hour ago says, does this prove the Jay Slater story is a lie? I think, I think we've realized that there's been so many lies being told about what actually happened to this young man. So I think it's going to be talked about for a long, long time. This video at the top here is from the newspaper, the Telegraph, and they're filming the funeral of Jay Slater. We don't need to look at that. And then again, the Daily Mail. I'm really not interested in those. This one I think is quite interesting. She's an American lady. Her channel is called 1111 True Crime. And she has been digging around. She seems to find out quite a lot of information as well. So maybe we'll take a look at her as well. Her latest video was streamed 23 hours ago. So I think they're the ones that we're going to be looking at, and I'll give my two pennies worth, whatever that's worth. Right. So it's important for you to understand that there's so many main characters in this story. So we've got Jay Slater, who is now no longer with us, and we've got these so-called friends that were with him when he went on holiday to Tenerife. So we've got Brad, we've got Lucy May, we've got the drug dealer and his pal, and there's almost every time I listen to another video, there's another person. So we've also got Brandon, who, as far as I know, has not been publicly interviewed, but he's very prominent in what's been going on, allegedly. And we've also got Thomas Hilton, who is the guy that was beaten up very badly by Jay Slater and his little gang. So yeah, bear with me, guys. I'm going to try and fill in some of the holes, but probably not very well because, as I say, there are some very good people out there, this lady included, and I believe that I need to go right back to the beginning and see if she did give props to the two men that I've just spoken on. Here we go.
Hello, 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 my beautiful. Oh my golly. It's like I thought, I'll leave the Jay Slater case alone for a day or two. But I can't because there's so much coming together right now. First off, I want to shout out to Wax Unfiltered.
There
Thank you,
you go.
sir. You're doing a fine job. Hats off to you. Great job. As well as Joseph Morris. Hats off to you, sir. Appreciate your work. And I thank you both for the shout out. And
So I love this. I love creators getting together for the betterment of life, for the betterment of society. And you can call these people whatever you want, like sleuths, crime sleuths, interfering busybodies. But the fact of the matter is, these three people have dug so deeply into this case. And we have to remember that it's a young lad that lost his life, that it's become so obvious that there have been so many cover-ups that have been going on and that are still going on. Now, this title here, she says, investigators thought Brad was Jay Slater. How did that happen? I mean, they didn't look alike. Jay Slater had dark hair. Brad is fair. Who really was at Masca? Jay or Brad? That's a very good question, and one that we will be looking deeper into in this video. One of the things that I really like about this community is that they don't always agree. And in my earlier videos, I said things that perhaps other people wouldn't agree with, like, well, the mother seemed a bit suspect. She didn't look as if she was genuinely crying. But what I like is we're not attacked because maybe our speculation was a bit askew. And I like that about this particular community, if you want to call it that. I know there are huge channels that cover crimes. I've yet to see one cover this Jay Slater case, and it could be because it's a British case. The boy was British. He was a Yorkshire lad on his first holiday in Tenerife who experienced the darkest of corners in Tenerife. And perhaps, the big YouTubers like Bailey Sarian and Stephanie Harlow aren't going to be interested in that. But I'm telling you, this story is so intriguing that I'm not surprised there's so many YouTubers that are talking about it. So hang tight, guys. We're going to jump into another Wax Unfiltered video. This was from a day ago. I tell you what, this guy has worked tirelessly since this case came out. He is my number one go-to for information.
Is a lie. A massive shout out to my guy Joseph Morris, who has been connecting the dots behind the scenes. The video he dropped yesterday was absolutely explosive. And
Okay, so I think I'll probably stick with wax unfiltered instead of toing and froing between the two of them. But as I've just said, the fact that they all support each other and are probably passing information between each other just makes for a better community and hopefully a more likely solution and resolution to what actually happened to this young boy.
we are about to react to that video right now, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize. I have got a slight blocked nose. I'm a bit under the weather at the moment, so do bear with me. But make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to this channel if we are new, turn the notification bells on so you don't miss out on future videos, and let's check this out.
All right, sleuths. So today we're going to have a closer look at the post that Rach and Lucy tried to delete from the Jay Slater Facebook group. They both moderated and also used to raise funds for their GoFundMes.
Do you know what's so amazing? Oh, this is Joseph, by the way. Wonderful guy. Do you know what amazes me so much is that these teenagers, they are teenagers, guys, have managed to spin a whole false narrative around what actually happened to Jay Slater. Think about it, guys. And I think a lot has to do with the technology in society nowadays. It's all done via mobile phone, via certain apps on the mobile phones. It's insane what this group of people have done to cover up or to spin a totally false narrative about what happened to Jay Slater.
And we kind of need to ask ourselves, what were they trying to hide by getting rid of these posts? Maybe it was a secret connection with Ayob they didn't want to tell us about. So hold on to your horses. Or
What they were ultimately doing was controlling the narrative. This is what I said to you guys before. Rachel Hargreaves was the administrator of the Jay Slater missing Facebook group, which is the
Rachel Hargreaves, would you believe, is Brad's mother. Now, she had Brad when she was very young, so she's only, although he's 19 now, she's only like in her early 30s. Now, it's come out that she's actually the one that started some of these GoFundMes. It's insane, guys. Just stay watching.
biggest group out of all of the groups that were created on Facebook. Therefore, she was more or less controlling the narrative. Anything that was put into that group that was implicating Brad or Lucy or anyone in that circle, she was deleting.
the beach footage again is making the rounds all over social media. And
I have to say, although this is very poor quality, I hope you can see what's actually happening here that Joseph is showing us. I've not seen this before. So yeah, I'm going to watch it with you. Let's go back a tad. Okay, here we go.
beach footage again is making the rounds all over social media. And sleuths have uncovered never before seen footage from the night Jay disappeared.
And this is the first time I'm seeing this footage.
So on Rach's Facebook page, most of this footage was said to have been debunked, and lots of the posts were removed because of that.
The only problem with this is who is who? The person closest to Joseph, is that meant to be Jay? Like, I don't know who's who, and it's really hard to pinpoint who's who. You'll have to do it based on maybe body shape, height, clothes that they were potentially wearing. That's how you're going to have to do it. But right now, it's really hard for me to decipher who's who.
But now, looking at it again months later, some of the details that were only revealed later on in the case just line up way too perfectly to not have a second look at this footage and ask ourselves if it is authentic or not. So I compiled the deleted evidence in a sequence, and it's quite compelling. The footage opens up with CCTV footage on the boardwalk where all the bars and cafes are in the resort town of Los Cristianos.
I have to say, and I don't know whether I put it on one of the earlier videos, I saw a clip of something happening at the water's edge. it wasn't a beach, it was like a water's edge where there were boats. Now, I hope I did include it on one of my videos, because I'm going to have to dig long and hard to find that. But it's the one where you can hear somebody shouting, Jay, Jay, oh no, don't do this, and whatever. And something about, you said you weren't going to stab him. Something along those lines. And I don't know whether Wax Unfiltered covers it here. But it seemed strange to me at the time that nobody was really focusing in on that. And I was surprised. I'm surprised that it's taken this long for this sort of scenario to come to the fore as being a really important piece about what actually happened. I'm really surprised about that.
In it, you can see a group of men appearing to have some sort of altercation. One of the men appears to kick something under the boardwalk. And at one point, you can see a man put his hands on another man. So right here, you can see a man point at one man and then just puts his hands on his face, like bam, right there.
I see some type of movement, but I can't confirm if the guy is actually putting his hands on someone. I guess I'm going to have to watch this a number of times to really get my head around it.
I think this could potentially be Tom Hilton, because Tom Hilton was dressed all in black that night.
And that's another thing. When this story first came out, the Tom Hilton story was brought on almost like a caveat, almost like a side story. But as the investigations progressed amongst the sleuths, not amongst the police, not amongst the authorities, none of those have looked at the Tom Hilton connections. But because the sleuths brought it up and found that Tom Hilton, the guy that Jay and his pals beat up very severely, he was actually at the club. It's insane, guys. And also, there's a connection between Tom Hilton and Lucy. Apparently, Lucy was his girlfriend a while ago. What is so disturbing, I guess, about this story is that so many of these people actually know each other, and they all come from the same part of England, a place called Accrington or thereabouts, which is up north. And what is amazing to me is, as I've just said, if it wasn't for the sleuths, this story would be dead and buried. If the authorities had their way, this story would be dead and buried, the same as Jay Slater. And that is disgusting.
This person who's getting his hands put on him could either be Brad, because I see the man beside him dressed in light colored shorts, as well as a light colored t-shirt similar to Jay. So was this Jay and Brad potentially having some sort of altercation with Tom Hilton? Because remember, Brad actually had his glasses lose a lens. And in his interview with ITV,
let me just quickly pause it here, though. If you look at the picture, this is the side of the glasses that you would be wearing, which means that the lens that's missing is the right eye.
See, these guys are so good. Personally, I don't know if I see a vast difference. Yes, you can see there's a bit of darkness around the eye. Is it a black eye? Does it look as if he's been punched in the eye? I would have thought that the eyeball itself would have been red, or, a bit of yellow, or some sort of damage being visible on the eye, and there isn't any. But I'm still, interested in what their findings are.
And we have to correct it. We need to go by the facts. And that's exactly what that is. This is a pair of glasses where the sides of the glasses are missing, but the glasses are laying on the front of its face, which means the right lens is missing, not the left.
Also had what appeared to be marks on the same area of where his lens popped out.
But that's not to say, ladies and gentlemen, that Brad wasn't hit or Brad didn't have a black eye, because his eye did look like it was more darker than the other one. So we can't eliminate the fact that he potentially had a black eye.
Okay, so the guys are now going to discuss that video I just spoke about, the one where someone is shouting about Jay.
And this same person was also allegedly seen roaming around at the NRG festival. Pretty interesting.
We're seeing here. And then my sequence cuts to what appears to be Jay trying to get away and a man calling for quack quack, which is Ayub Kasim's, the substance dealer's nickname. So let's listen to this.
Oh, no, no, cool for my boy quack quack. I heard it. I've actually seen this footage already, but I definitely heard it.
Then you hear what cyber sleuths believe was Lucy making a comment about Jay getting cut. And I outline here for you all what I see is a man holding up a pointy object.
Oh my God, how scary is that? That's awful, guys. Absolutely awful, especially when you realise these are all teenagers. They haven't even reached adulthood, really. And look at what is going on. Thank you so much to these sleuths, or whatever you want to call them. Jay had a questionable past, but at the end of the day, he didn't deserve to have his life taken from him.
Then you can see possibly Jay running into the water, and I see people grabbing for him as he's splashing around. And this next clip in my sequence is from the beach, and it appears to be someone dragging a body on the sand. And I outlined the body. It's kind of hard to see because it's very fuzzy, but let's just keep going here where you can see someone looks like they're dragging someone across the beach. And then finally, we end with CCTV footage from the marina of a group of men appearing to take stuff with them on a boat, which some have suggested might be Jay. So a boat.
And just to quickly mention, ladies and gentlemen, that footage that we just see with the guys running on the boat, that was at 5:30 in the morning. 5:30 in the morning, really interesting, because that's when Ayub claimed they had a pit stop and collected Pepsis and things like that before they went off to the Airbnb.
It really is fascinating for anybody interested in crime and also in injustice to watch how these people, they're not professional people, these YouTubers, but they're putting together a very intricate puzzle of what actually happened in Tenerife to this young boy, and dismissing all the other stories that we're being fed from our authorities and from the Spanish authorities, because they know that something else happened to that young guy. I'm going to finish the video here, but plan to revisit it again in the next week. I will always give props to people seeking justice. And whether you agree with some of the things that Jay has been accused of doing and, his nefarious past or not, the truth of the matter is the story needs to be out there. And I commend these three that I've showed very short clips of today. I commend them for speaking the truth and for coming almost daily with more information. So if you'd like me to cover a bit more of this, please let me know in the comment section below. I shall be looking more at this particular video and anything else that I think is very interesting and very telling about what happened to Jay Slater. In the meantime, please take care of yourselves out there, because trust me, it's a rotten old world. Thanks for viewing. Bye-bye for now.